Bismillah, alhamdulillah. We thank Allah who has given us another opportunity to appear on the Islamic College Osogbo e-learning program, where we used to review past questions of our government syllabus. And this is the ninth episode if you are following us. Last week, or the previous classes that we had, we took a look at essay type question of our government syllabus. But today we are taking a new dimension. So where we are going to take a look at the multiple choice questions. But before we start going through the questions, because we are going to follow the syllabus. That is, we are going to following the topics, how the topics, how the topics are arranged, especially in your textbook, you could see. So we are going to follow that trend. That is, we are going to start on the first chapter, which is the meaning of government. So the review of the question on the meaning of government. So before we start reviewing the questions, I think it is highly necessary to take a look at the topic and the subtopics under the chapter so that students will are sure of himself or herself that he has already read everything. If you have some textbooks with you or in your notes, so and you are here to discover some sub areas that you are looking at on the screen, so means that you have not completed your study under the chapter. A complete study of the chapter will take a look at the following subtopics. The first one is the meaning of government. We have the general meaning of government, then we have the specific meaning, specific definition of government. So after you have looked at the general meaning, you're supposed to also look for specific meanings of three specific meanings of government. That is, government as an institution of state, the meaning of government as an art of governing, art or process of governing, the meaning of government as an academic field of study. Then you should know that under the chapter we have something called features of government. Then we have the functions of government, we have the reasons of studying government. The concept of state is under the chapter. You have to look for its meaning, its features. Then we are to compare between the state and government. Now, understood, after we've seen the subtopics of the chapter 1 of our government syllabus, the next thing is to proceed to the questions. I want to tell you, my students, the examiner can bring out question under any type, under any sub area of these topics. So it is highly essential that you study them very well. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. Number one, the first question says, which of the following defines the concept of government? Option A, the process of administering justice in a country. B, the process of supervising the activities of the legislature. C, the orderly management and control of affairs of a country. Then D, the orderly transfer of power to duly elected politicians. The question is located under the meaning of government. So what do you understand about government? Government is all about the control and the manage of the affair of the state, telling us that option C is the correct answer. Let us should give you definition from our own hand here. The definition that we learnt in the class. We define government as an organized group of people vested with power and authority to manage and control the affair of the state. So you critically taking when you take a look critically at the question at the option C, you will agree with me that it's talking sense. It meant what we have already learned as the meaning of government in the class. My question are my students, let I should re-emphasize this into your hearing. I used to say it. Government is about understanding. Nothing you need to cram under government. You should understand it. Then you produce your own point in your own language. But make sure that any concept that you are going to give meaning on, the key words should be present in the meaning, in the definition. But in your own word, government is unlike all the other subjects, like mathematics, physics, that you need to cram. So you understand it very well. Then you should be able to apply your reason. When you see something similar to it, then you click into it. So that is your own correct answer. Question number 2 says, government as an institution of state is defined as a body which, I said earlier that government can be defined in 3 specific areas. One of the areas is as an institution of state. Option A says conduct election for the country. B makes, enforces and interprets law for the state. C hires and trains political leaders. D makes and interprets law. If you look at option B and option D, students can be confused about them, because at option D we have makes and interprets law, but they mention 2 functions of 2 organs, and we have 3 institutions of state, 3 machineries of state, 3 organs of state: legislature, executive organ, and judiciary organ. Looking at option D very well, makes and interpret is just for executive and judiciary, abi legislature and judiciary. Nothing here that talk about executive. The correct answer to the question is option B, which is makes, enforces and interprets law. Makes law for the legislature, enforces law for the executive, and interprets law for the judiciary. Another question number 3, under the same topic, says government as a process or art of governing means: A. Voting at general election. B. Order of judiciary and police. C. Activities of political parties and prayer group. D. Activities for making and enforcing law in a state. Option D, no a dispute on it, is the correct answer. That is activities for making and enforcing law in a state. That is the meaning of government as a process or art of governing. Number 4 says government as an academic field of study refers to the A. The president and his ministers. B. Study of political institutions and processes. C. Working of organ of government. D. membership of international organization. As an academic field of study, government is the study of political institutions and processes. That is, option D is the correct answer. I will give you the definition that we had in the class. The definition of government as an academic field of study is that it can be defined as a subject matter learned in the school about governmental system and processes. So you look at the two, you will see that our own correct answer is option B, which is the study of political institutions and processes. Number 5 question says, a common feature of government is a common feature of government. A, the making of public policy. B, the separation of powers. C, the independence of judiciary. Then option D, a written constitution. I want to call the attention of my students to the word common. Common feature, you can underline it. Everything is about government, but which one is common? You know, we do have different types of governments. We have unity governments, we have monarchy governments, we have democratic governments, we have oligarchy, feudalism, and the likes. But if you look at them, you will see that one thing is common to all, even the totalitarianism, the authoritarianism of fascism, the totalitarianism of Nazism. One thing is common to all, and it is the making of the public policy. You look at separation of powers, even the presidential and parliamentary system of government, the separation of power is not applicable to parliamentary. We don't have clear-cut separation of powers. We have fusions of power, where the prime minister and the cabinet are both members of the executive and judiciary and the legislative. So it is not common to all type of government. Then independent of judiciary, you cannot tell me that judiciary is independent under military rule, under military system. Then a written constitution, a type of this government can adopt written, another one can adopt unwritten. We have flexible, we have rigid, we have unitary constitution, we have federal constitution. The correct answer to the question is option A, which is the making of the public policy. Number 6 says, the study of government in the school is important because the student can A, be assisted by the political leaders, B, learn about their rights, C, qualify for election, D, be nominated for trip abroad. Under reasons of studying government, we have some reasons why we study government. Among of it is to inculcate the spirit of patriotism in the mind of the students. Among it, if you agree with me, is to know about our own rights, our own fundamental human rights. So option B is the correct answer. That is, learns about their rights. It's one of the reasons why we study government, to know about our rights. Number 7, all types of government perform all the following functions except A, providing welfare and developmental facilities, B, maintaining law and order, C, encouraging the struggle for power, D. Encouraging trade with other states. There is one thing I want to call your attention to. You see, you need to be sensitive when you are dealing with governments. Examiner acknowledges that the information is there with you. You have already learned about the subject matter. You've read it, you've learned it directly from the mouth of your teacher who is competent. But they have already acknowledged that. And they don't want you to just have everything. They will try to make it to be confused to you. If you don't be patient, you are not somehow that is patient enough, you may make that mistake. What is the area I want to point you to? The word except. And these examiner bodies, both WAEC and NECO, even JAMB, they are so compassionate to you, students. They will write this word boldly just to call your attention to it. The options are the function of government except one. The one that is not there is option C, encouraging the struggle for power. You should note that. Number 8, government is distinguished from the state because it A, can be changed periodically, does not operate in any defined territory. C, is a loosely organized structure. D, enforces its will on the people of the state. You look at the question very well. The question is under relationship between state and government. But you look at the question very well. The question says government is distinguished. So we want to distinguish government away from the state. Means that you are going to look for the feature of government in the option that is not the same with the state. What is the feature of government in the option? Option A is the correct answer because government is periodically changing. So we in Nigeria, we have every 4 years, a government is going to leave the office, another one comes. The least terms that you can use is 2 terms. So after your term, you are going. That is, government is frequently changing, but state remains the same. One of the qualities, one of the features of state you should not forget is permanency. The state is permanent. Nigeria as a state is permanent. But the government that we know control the affair of the state is changing. So may Allah assist us. So we will move on to proceed to another chapter. The next chapter, which is the basic concept of government, where we are going to look at 4 concepts as you are looking at it on the screen. We have power, we have authority, we have legitimacy, and we have sovereignty. Briefly, let I should give you the meaning of the 4 concepts. Power is the capacity or ability of an individual to influence another one's behavior through the means of threats, force, sanction. But authority is a legal right of an individual to influence another one's behavior and seek obedience from them. If you look at the 2 concepts, the first one is the capacity, your own capacity, the physical capacity, the economic capacity of an individual. But the second one is rights, the legal rights of an individual, that is the constitutional rights. So the 2 is about influencing another one's behavior, seeking obedience. but this one as a result of threat, but this one derived from the constitution. Now, sovereignty. Sovereignty is an absolute power of a state over its citizen. The absolute power. The power that cannot be checked. The power that is above everything. That is sovereignty. It's one of the main features of states that is exercised by government on behalf of states. The last one is legitimacy. Legitimacy is the recognition and the acceptance of a ruler by the ruled. That is when the people of a country accept you and recognize you as their own ruler. If you are to compare, if I'm to ask you a question, is military rule a legitimate government? The correct answer to the question is no, because military rule imposes itself on the people. People do not recognize them. During the Abacha, the second last military regime that we had in this country, between 1994 and 1998, just assumed the power, overthrow the government of the interim government under the Soneken. People did not recognize him, they did not accept him, and he governed us compulsorily. So it means that under this, military is not a legitimate government. But there is one thing, when we are looking at the factors that bring about the legitimacy of a government, there is one factor that we used to look at, that is good governance. If I may ask, if a military government has a good governance, can we call it a legitimate government as we have it under Muritala Obasanjo regime? Muritala Obasanjo regime, they assumed power through the coup d'etat. They imposed themselves on us, but they had what we call good governance. Are we to call it a legitimate government? So, because we have it under features or the factor that determine the legitimacy of a government, good governance is under it. But that is not where we are going. Where we are going is that we want to look at some question under it. The first question that we are taking a look at, is authority means what? Authority means A, automatic right to be obeyed, B, legitimate right to be obeyed, C, a civic right to obey others, then D, a civic right to be obeyed. As I said earlier, authority is a legal right. So, and legitimate rights is the same thing with legal rights, telling us that options B is the correct answer. A legitimate right to be obeyed, unlike power. Number 2 says, a government is said to be legitimate if it's a government is said to be legitimate. We can call a certain government as a legitimate government if it's A, have the people mandate to rule. B, is not oppressive. C, provide social service for the people. D, accept people criticism. Looking at the question, you will agree with me that option A is the correct answer. When people recognize you and accept you, is when they give you mandates, the authority to rule them. So the correct answer to the question, because we don't want to waste much of our time, is A. Number 3 says sovereignty ultimately resides in A, the people within a political society, B, a country's chief executive, that is the president, C, the judge of the Supreme Court, D, the traditional ruler. Under sovereignty, we learn something about location of sovereignty. And sovereignty can be located in different areas under different governments. Under monarchical system of government can be located in the king or the queen. Under military system of government can be located in the Supreme Military Council. Under the unitary system of government can be located in the central government. But this one does not say the type of government, but we should assume that it is a democratic government. Under democratic government, sovereignty is located in the electorate, in the people. The correct answer to the question is the people within a political society. People within a political society. Number 4, the concept of sovereignty was first introduced into political terminology in 1576 by A. The Weston Churchill, B. Jean Bodin, C. Karl Marx, D. Abraham Lincoln. The correct answer to the question is Jean Bodin. He's a theorist, he's a political theorist. He's the one that propounded the theory of sovereignty. Churchill was one time a president, a prime minister of Britain. Karl Marx is the one that propounded the theory of socialism and communism. Abraham Lincoln as well was one time a president, the president of America. So the correct answer to the question is option B, which is Jean Bodin. Sorry. Political authority refers to that is the last question that we have for ourselves under chapter 2. Political authority refers to the A. Ability to effect political action. B. Capacity to produce desired political results. C. Capacity to reshape political behavior of the citizens. D. Recognized right to exercise political power. I said authority is a legal right. It's the same thing with legitimate government, which is the acceptance and recognition. And looking at the option D, says recognized right to exercise political power. That is what we have for ourselves under the chapter 2, the basic concept of government. We are proceeding to the next one quickly, which is political ideologies. Political ideologies, they are the political beliefs that define a political and social concept of a society. Under it, we have concepts like capitalism, socialism, communism, liberalism. Briefly, I should tell you the meaning. Capitalism is a system where the means of production, distribution, and exchange is owned and controlled by individuals. Socialism and communism. Communism is an advanced stage of socialism. Is where the means of production, distribution, and exchange is owned and controlled by the state. Communalism is a socio-economic concept where the people of community worked together for the community development. Liberalism is a political and social concept that emphasizes individualism of a person. Feudalism is where we have the ownership and the control of land. Fascism it can be defined as aggressive nationalism and totalitarian government that give authority sovereignty to the supreme power. The same thing with Nazism. The two are examples of authoritarianism and totalitarianism. So now let's move to the questions under them. The first question says, the type of government in which Citizens' rights and duties were based on the system of land tenure was known as A. Feudalism, B. Communalism, C. Oligarchy, D. Republicanism. The correct answer to the question is feudalism. Is where the land ownership and control defines the status of the citizen. In feudalistic society, land gives status to the people. If you do not forget, we have lord, who is the owner of the land, that inherited land. We have the vassal or knight, the one that a military personnel that got a piece of land through the military service. Then we have serf, somebody that is working on the land, the laborer that is working on the land. So the status of an individual is defined in his relationship with land. The lord, the owner of the land, is at the top in the hierarchy. The vassal next to him, then we have serf at the bottom. So the correct answer is feudalism. Communalism, I think I've given the meaning. Then we have oligarchy. Oligarchy is a government of few people. Under it, we have plutocracy, the people of the rich. Rich people are few compared to the poor people in the community. We have the aristocracy, the government of the noble people, people of high status. They are very few compared to the masses. We have what they call it, aristocracy. We have what they call it, theocracy, the government of the priests or religious men. They are few. And the like, we have gerontocracy, the government of old people. Old people compared to the young people, they are very few. So oligarchy is the government of few people. Then republicanism. Republicanism is all about when the people of community are allowed to elect their representatives by themselves. That is republican. So the correct answer to the question, without wasting much of our time, is feudalism. Now, quickly, number 2, traditional system of government of pre-colonial Nigeria was based on A. Socialism, B. Communalism, C. Communism, D. Capitalism. The correct answer, before the advent of the British colonial master, we learned that Nigeria was colonized. The first year was 1900. So before 1900, what was the traditional system of Nigeria? Is like communalism. Communalism, when the people come together, work for the development of the community. As an individual, you don't see yourself. No liberalism. Liberalism means individualism. We are living a collective life. Collective spirit is influence of the westernization that make us to be individual in everything that we are doing. So the life of pre-colonial Nigerian system was communalism, the collective spirit. Then another question, number 3, says the Industrial Revolution in Europe resulted in. Industrial Revolution, what does it mean? Industrial Revolution took place between 16th to 17, between 16th and 17th century. It's when the modern science came to the existence that gave birth to the different technologies, machines that is working in factories. Before then, the European community was characterized with feudalistic features. They are feudalistic in nature. But when the advent of modern science that later produced the technology transformed that society from feudalism to capitalism. The correct answer is capitalism. The correct answer is what? Capitalism. So number 4, Nazism. Nazism is a political ideology that emphasizes A. Supremacy of race, B. Collective race consciousness, C. Communal race consciousness. D. Equality of all races. I told you that Nazism is associated with Adolf Hitler. And if you look at the history of Adolf Hitler believed in supremacy of the Aryan, that is the blood of the German. That is why he declared war to dominate all the European countries. That war brought about Second World War that took place between 1939 and 1945. The correct answer to the question is supremacy of race. That is, German nation is above everybody. The blood of the German is supreme. That is the belief of Hitler. Number 5 says a system of government in which power derives from the total control of the instrument of force is called, that is, monopoly of force. Is another word they can use. The instrument of force can be the monopoly of force. The correct answer is fascism. Fascism believes in the supremacy of the supreme leader that can control everything, both public and private life of the citizen. Go and check the meaning. Fascism can be defined as an aggressive nationalism that make the supreme power to have the control of the both private and individual, both private and public life of the citizen. So it's all about force to compel you to do something. You must not go against the policy of the state. That is why one of the features of the fascism is the absence of the opposition party. So quickly, number 6. Which of the following ideologies emphasizes the abolition of government and law? That is, the government and law should not exist. Which ideology? It is not totalitarianism. Totalitarianism believe in God, but the supreme power of government. Communism believe in it, but the economy should be controlled by the government. Socialism believe in it, but economy should be controlled by the government. But anarchism is the correct answer, where no government and law, that everything will be in disorderliness. Number 7, Nazism as a doctrine was proposed by A. Benito Mussolini, B. Adolf Hitler, C. Karl Marx, D. Joseph Stalin. I've said it earlier that Nazism is associated with Adolf Hitler, when fascism is associated with Benito Mussolini. And I said the two are good examples of totalitarianism and authoritarianism. So the correct answer to the question is option B, which is Adolf Hitler. The last question it's not the last question, number 8. According to Karl Marx, the one that propounded the theory of socialism. According to Karl Marx, socialism is a prelude to, if you want to give correct answer to this question, you must understand the word prelude. And the meaning is, I've already said it, that communism is an advanced stage of socialism. That is, we are going to have socialism first, then we have communism. So the word prelude means to introduce. So socialism introduced communism. It's like a stage. The first stage is socialism. The second stage, after you have already gotten the first stage, is to move to the second stage, which is communism. So the correct answer is communism, propounded by a single theorist, which is Karl Marx. So another question, number 9, is says liberalism. Liberalism is a philosophy underlying what? A. Socialism, B. Capitalism, C. Feudalism, D. Nazism. What is liberalism? I've said it before. Liberalism is about individualistic mode of life, individualistic way of life, individualism. And if you look at capitalism very well, We say where the means of production, distribution, and exchange is owned and controlled by individual. Capitalism is about individual life, economic life of an individual. So liberalism is the political life of an individual. So the political phase of capitalism is liberalism. It's an ideology that centers on individualistic concept of a person. So the correct answer is hmm, capitalism. Now number 10 says capitalism is an economic system in which A. The economic of a state is centrally planned and controlled. Economic of a state is centrally planned and controlled. B. Private persons are permitted to undertake enterprises. C. Accumulation of private property is in the hand of individual. Abi? D. The means of productions are owned and controlled by state. What is the correct answer? Hmm? Private persons are permitted. Hmm? Look at the question very well. The private persons are permitted to undertake enterprises. Then you are allowed to enter into the economic world of the country. So not a centralized from the government. Hmm? So everybody should understand this. So inshallah, we are to put stop on this now. We are able to review questions under 3 chapters of our government syllabus. The meaning of government, the basic concept of government, and the political ideologies. We've we've taken a review, the meaning of the various concepts. Then we answered questions under them. So inshallah, the next episode that we are going to have, we will start from another new chapter, another new topic. And before then, I want to employ everybody. I've said it several times that if you do have question that seem difficult to you, you send it to me so that we review it together in an open ground like this. So I pray that Allah should make it easy for us. And I gave you through the WhatsApp means my number, my phone number. Through SMS, just send the number to me, the question to me. We are to review it. If you are unable to see it, I want to give the number now. It's 081 3696 0488. So you send any question, then we are going to look at it together so that everything will be useful for us, especially when exam comes. So my students, we pray that Allah should send away the COVID-19, send it away and make us to resume back to the school, because immediately we resume back to the school. My student, you should not forget that we are for the exam. So I pray that Allah should make us be successful in the exam, and I equally implore you, advise you to be following us online and all the necessary things that it is required from you, like assignments and some other things. You do it. So we pray that Allah should be with every one of us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.